Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? So in today's tutorial we're going to be making this beautiful two-piece set that you can see. So that is what we're going to be making. I'm going to be using these two fabrics. So this will be for the top while this is going to be for the trouser. So to get started, the first thing you're going to go ahead to do is to fold your fabric into 4. So this fabric is folded into 4. So the next thing you're going to do is to go ahead to draw out a starting line, which I'm going ahead to do. So this is my starting line. So from this line now, I'm going to be taking every other measurement. So the first measurement you are going to be taking is the waistband. So I'm going to be using 1.5 inches for the waistband. And I'm going to repeat 1.5 inches here just to have a straight line. So the next measurement to take is the full length of the trouser you want to make. So this depends on you. You can just go ahead to measure your child and you measure how long or how short you want the trouser to be on your child. So for me, I want the trouser to be 10 inches. So I'm going to mark out 10 inches this way. And I'm going to connect this 10 inches into a straight line as well. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch to the down part, which is going to be the allowance. So this is going to be the hemming allowance. So once you are done taking this measurement, the next measurement to take is your crotch line measurement. So to get your crotch line measurement, you are going to place your tape rule. So I said this is the band allowance, this is the normal trouser allowance. So to get your crotch measurement, so for your child, you just go ahead to divide your round bodies measurement. So the round bodies of your baby, you measure and you divide by 4. So for me, I'm working for a toddler, so the round body measurement is 20 inches. So 20 divided by 4 is 5 inches. But you're going to be adding 1.5 inches to 2 inches for ease, so that when your child wears the trouser, it's not going to be tight underneath. So I'm using 5 inches for my round measurement, divided by 4 is 5. I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches, making it 6.5. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark out 6.5 inches here. So this is my crotch measurement. So the next measurement you need is the round body. So the round body, I said I'm working with 5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead to add sewing ease and sewing allowance. So I'm going to be using ease of 2.5 inches and sewing allowance of ½ inches. So making it 8 inches. So when you're making a child's dress, it's very necessary for you to add allowance for their dresses or for their pants. Anything you are making for a child, add sewing allowance just to make it easier for them. So I placed 8 inches here, 8 inches here, and I'm just going to connect this into a straight line. So the next thing, on this crotch line now, I'm just going to go in by 2 inches. Just 2 inches works fine for children, and I'm just going to connect it this way. So for the wideness of the leg, this depends on how wide you want it to be. So I'm just going to make use of 8.5 inches. So I'm just making use of 8.5 inches, and I'm just going to connect this way. And I'm going to connect this way. So this is for both the front and the back. For children trouser, this is for both the front and the back, and we're just going to go ahead to cut this out now. So once you are done, this is what you should have. When you open this into 2, this is what you should have. So one will be for the front and one will be for the back. So the next thing for us to cut is the upper part, which is the top. So for the top, I've gone ahead to fold this fabric as well into 4. So this fabric is folded into 4, the same way I did for the trouser. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark a starting line as well. Let me use a white chalk so that it can be clearer. So this is the starting line, which is 1. So I just marked out a starting line. So the next thing to do is to measure the length of your baby. So for my baby's top is 13 inches. So the top for my baby is 13 inches. So you measure from the shoulder to where, how long you want the top to be. So for mine is 13 inches. 13 inches, but because we are going to be adding like a rope around the shoulder for her to tie, So I'm just going to minus 2 inches from her measurement. So from her 13 inches I minus 2 inches, and you can see that I've gone up by 2 inches. So I'm going to be marking that 13 inches, and I'll connect this into a straight line. So the next measurement that you need is so you need an hemming allowance for the top. So I'm just going to use half inches for the hemming allowance, which I'm adding. Then you need a casing where you are going to be passing the rope through. So I'm going to be using 1 inches for that casing. So I'm going to add that 1 inches to this. So this is my hemming allowance, which is half inches. I'll connect it as well. Then I'm also going to be adding the casing allowance. So this is it now for the top. So I'm going to cut this out. So the next thing to do is for the armhole opening. I'm just going to come down by like 5 inches. So I came down by like 5 inches, and I came in by like 2 inches. So this is the armhole. So just make like 5 inches. So come down by like 5 inches. So, and I'm going to cut this out as well. And so this is it for the top part. So this is it for the top part. So to know the amount of fabric you are going to be folding, so what I have here is like 12 inches. So on fold, that's 24 inches. So I have 24 inches for the front, I have 24 inches for the back, and this just works perfectly. So let us get started for the sewing. So for the sewing part, we are going to start with the trouser first. So let's make the pants first, then we make the top later. So the first thing you go ahead to do, mark out the wrong side of your fabric. So this is the wrong side of my fabric. So mark out the wrong side of your fabric and just go ahead to stitch the crotch line this way, and you stitch this way. So once you are done stitching this part, so this is what you should have. So I'm going to open this up so that you can see it's looking like trouser already. So the next thing we are going to do is to make our casing. So remember we said we added 1.5 inches for the casing. So I'll just go ahead to fold it. So this is the line. You can see that I can see the line here. So I'm going to go ahead to fold it this way. Then I'll fold it again using half inches. So I should have something like this, like 1 inches casing. So I'm going to go ahead to do this. So I'm just trying to make the casing for the elastic. So I'll go ahead to stitch. So I'll go ahead to stitch on the folded edge, and I'm going to leave a little opening where I'm going to be passing my elastic. So I'll go ahead to stitch all around on the folded edge and leave a little space for passing the elastic. Okay, so once you are done, you see I stitched very close to the folded edge. Then I made another line because I'm going to be using smaller elastic. So if you are using a big elastic, you can just pass it through. But because I'm using a small elastic, so I'm just going to pass the two elastic through the space like this. So for the amount of elastic that you will need, so the round body measurement of our baby is 20 inches. So I just minus 4 inches from the bodies, and I cut it out as elastic, and I cut out 2. So I cut out 2. So the next thing we are going to do now, so before we pass the elastic, is for us to hem the down part. So I'm just going to go ahead to hem the down part using the 1 inches we added. So once you are done hemming the down parts, the next thing is just to finish the crotch area. So I'll go ahead to stitch the crotch area using half inches, and you can see that our pants is coming out looking very beautiful. So let me just sew down this place. So you can see after joining, everything is aligning properly. So look at it. So everything aligned properly. This is looking so beautiful. So the next thing for us to do is just to pass our elastic casing. So then I'll take this sewing machine and stitch this down. So I'll stitch the first one down, then I'll pass the second one as well. So when I'm done, I'll now stitch and close this line. So I'll go ahead to stitch this down, then I'll pass the second one, then I'll close the lines. So once you're done passing your elastic, so you just make sure to close the part. So this was where I passed the elastic, so you can see that I'm gonna have to close it up. So let me just turn this to the right side. So this is the right side of the shorts. So you can decide to make this for any child. So this is the right side of the short. So you can see how beautiful this shirt is. The next thing to do is to work on the top. So for the top, it's very easy. Just determine where the front and the back of your fabric is. So this is the back. I'm just going to use this part as the back. So the first thing you're going to go ahead to do is to go ahead to finish this armhole. So I cut out another piece. It's just around 1 inches. So I cut out another piece and it's just around 1.25 inches. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to use this to turn over the armhole like this. So just the way I'm pinning it down. So you go ahead to stitch exactly the way I am pinning this down. So you go ahead to stitch this way. So once you are done, then you fold again, you fold it again to have a neat finishing. So you fold it again and you go ahead to do that. So let's go ahead to do this part first. So once you are done with the armhole, this is how it should look like. You can see how neat it is looking. And I've gone ahead to take in my 1 inches for my casing. So the next thing to do is just to join the sides. So I'll go ahead to stitch down the sides using 1/2 inches. So once you are done joining the side, the next thing is just to hem the down part. So remember, it was 1/2 inches we added for this down part. So I'll just go ahead to fold it once and I'll go ahead to stitch it down. So I'll go ahead to hem the down part. So guys, once you're done with the down part, so the only thing left is just the rope. So to do that, I'm going to have to cut this piece. So this piece that I have here is 24 inches. So the length here is 24 inches. So you can see it's 24 inches by 2 inches. So 24 by 2 inches, and I went ahead to cut out 2. So to make the rope, what you are going to do is to fold this way, you fold again this way, then you fold this way. So you then go ahead to stitch on it. So what we're just trying to do is just to create a rope. So you go ahead to do that. So let me do that, then I'll show you. So I'll stitch on it, then I'm going to show you what I have. So once you are done, this is what you should have. So you can see what I have here. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to pass this through the casing. I'm just going to use this Busby pin. So we'll pass it through this. So once you're done, this is what you should have. So you can just go ahead to tie the rope. So guys, once you are done with the top, so this is how the top should look like. So you can see how beautiful this top is already. So the two placed on each other, you can see how beautiful this turned out. So guys, thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and I'm going to be seeing you in the next one.